All right, we're gonna reset that because we got like 3 minutes of dead time. So Piper and Joe here with you on this Easter Sunday.
I'm yawning again while you say that.
Yawning. Hopefully, you're getting to enjoy the day outside. We don't have our third yet again, so we'll still clear of any topics that will hurt his feelings on if we cover too in depth. The only other question we really have that we haven't touched on from our community was gear. What kind of gear you like, gear reviews. Of course, the other ones we didn't touch in very much depth on, so we're going to go back on those. I don't really have any thoughts on gear for the most part. I mean, it's, again, just a general overview. You're going to want some lifting shoes for Olympic weightlifting for the most part because your ankle mobility.
And hip mobility.
I used to wear wrist wraps a lot. I've gotten out of it.
I wear them when we go upside down, or when there's like, we had one workout that I just remember, like 21-15-9, like 5-4-3 overhead squats and wall walks, and I just remember my wrists were absolutely destroyed by the end.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend it for that.
Well, and I agree, like, you have to do that when you start. And it's the same thing I'd say about lifters. And you're always going to wear lifters.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you'll wear lifters on a squat to start, just like a back squat or a front squat. But I think the more that you get into it, like, those really need to be reserved for weightlifting. And you need to take them off at other times. Because you're wearing them because there's something that's not right up or down the chain. So ankle mobility or your knees, you're not going into your squat correctly, or hip mobility.
Yeah.
So things like that, I think you really need to think about why you're wearing them, and make sure you're addressing the cause, because that will always create a negative feedback someplace else if you don't resolve it. Like, yeah, it may be your Band-Aid for squat, and you may never notice ever again if that was it. But you're going to develop weakness because you're covering up, and then that's going to come in something later. Wrists, I feel like the same thing, right? That's the joint that's literally going to take it's going to have to compensate the most for tight triceps, lats, shoulders, pecs. Your wrists are going to bear the brunt of that. So while those movements hurt your wrists, they hurt your wrists more when you're not mobile, when you're not doing the things in those other joints. Yeah. And so that's one of the things where I was like, why am I wearing this? One, is it just a security blanket, or two, is it to cover up something I'm not addressing elsewhere? Just have somebody screen you. There's plenty of movement screens you can get online. You don't have to pay anybody for that. Mobility test apps are like $8, and it has AI, and it puts dots on your elbow and all that other stuff.
There's your first one for free.
Yeah, and so they have all these screens, and you can work through it. People are going to be Team Nano or Metcon or No Bulls or whatever. I don't know if that's counted as gear.
Oh, yeah. Well, with a shoe.
Yeah. CrossFitters love their shoes.
I've only ever worn No Bulls, just regular trainers, and then Metcon 7s. I heard people compare the Metcon 8 more to a No Bull. Like, it got a little firmer.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just stick with Metcon 7s for forever until they release a Metcon 9 and maybe go back a little bit to make it squishier. Yeah. Otherwise, Piper will be on eBay for the rest of her life. But I've never tried a Nano, which I know if you've been in the sport longer, you probably have.
I'm wearing a Nano.
Yeah.
I started with Nanos. Honestly, I started with the 5-finger shoes.
Oh, really?
My first CrossFit workout was in the Vibram toe shoes.
Oh my God.
I was living in Austin. I had to be a hippie. You have to assimilate or die.
Corey wears toe socks in his shoes.
Yeah, he does. He's weird.
He's weird.
But he's done it, and he told somebody else this. He's like, I've done it for so long that now it's weird if my toes touch each other. And I'm like, that is a new level of like.
Yeah. He's one with the ground. He's what Mother Nature intended us to be.
Yeah. Other gear.
Ropes. I have an RPM. A lot of people hate them. I bought it because it was on sale, and I needed a rope.
I can't get the cable to stay in. And I think one mistake a lot of people make with jump rope is they're going to go too light, too fast.
That's fair.
And so they don't feel the jump rope. And I say that because that's what happened to me. And I was like, I can't get doubles. Well, I couldn't feel the rope. It was too light. I went to a heavy rope that Corey's got here, and I was like, well, these feel good. And I could feel the rhythm of when I needed to do it. Now, I couldn't do it with the double, but I could feel it. And then I went to a different rope, and it was like, well, I have double unders.
Yeah. They use like an RX Smart Gear.
Yeah, that's what Corey and I both have.
It's got a little bit thicker handles. I just have little hands, so it was really hard for me to use it.
I got little legs. I can't keep up.
Because I couldn't hold it right. Corey'd be like, put it between your fingers, and I was like, dude, it's like this big. I don't know how you do that.
He holds the jump ropes weird.
Yeah, so don't take any advice from him.
He's really good at them. So
and he has triples, and I think he can string them.
Yeah, I mean that's how he got the free RX jump rope. He had to do.
Did he win that?
Yeah, so he posted a thing.
With 24, he did 24.
I don't remember what their number was, but yeah, he posted and was like, "Hey, how many triple unders for free jump rope?" And they responded, and he got so close, like 4 times. He was like 1 or 2 reps away.
In the video, you're in the back doing like mobility work, and you go, "Did you get it?" And he goes, "Yeah."
But yeah, so I mean, whatever his grip he uses works. It seems crazy to me.
And he uses a rope for someone who's like 5'2". And he's like 6 foot.
Yeah.
He's just a freak of nature athlete.
Yep.
We're complimenting.
Which, and I tell you right off the face that he'd hate that because it would discredit his hard work.
Oh, okay, well, yes, he has hard work too.
Well, and I'm just saying, like, we've had this conversation a lot, and like a lot of his friends are like, "Oh, I wish I was as fit as you. I wish it just came naturally." He's like, "This doesn't come naturally to me." Like, out of high school, I was a fat kid, and I was addicted to drugs, and he's like, "I worked my butt off for this," and so he was like, "When people just tell me that it must be nice, it frustrates me because I work really, really hard."
Yeah.
Yeah, does he have some talent? Sure, but he also works. And I think that's one thing.
He'll tell you any time about his first CrossFit workout.
Yeah.
He says it was the worst thing he's ever gone through.
Yeah. And that kind of, we'll touch back on, I'm saying touch back a lot today. Guess that's my phrase du jour. When Corey gets back. But it brought up something, if you were in Saturday class, I gave 2 members some crap because their friend joined another gym.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of asked them why. Again, people join gyms for all sorts of reasons. And, the answer was this person was just intimidated. Well, this person only came here on our competitions. So they didn't see.
I've seen them around for easily the entire time I've been here.
Yeah. And so they had only ever seen, the people in super competition mode and stuff like that. They hadn't seen the regular classes. I don't think it's fair to assess a community by that or what you can or can't do, which is one of the reasons we stopped inviting people to Saturdays for free because our members want to go harder and longer on Saturday, and I'm in the business of making my members happy before I attract new members. So, the horse before the cart. But I was kind of thinking, I was never hesitant to walk into a CrossFit gym prior to starting CrossFit. From the moment I found out about CrossFit to the moment I started CrossFit was less than a week. There was no hesitation. And I hear from people all the time that there's a lot of hesitation to start CrossFit. So I guess right now I'm asking the people watching, you're doing CrossFit now, or you're at least interested. What kept you from starting as soon as you heard about it, or what is keeping you from starting right now? So I can actually address those because I never went through it.
Yeah.
Did you go through it? Was there hesitation on your part?
I met Kinsey in May of 2020 when she moved back to Columbia from Quincy. So she restarted here. And so she was like, come, join CrossFit. I was like, I don't know, maybe. I was like, I still have to do a swim season. I don't really know, what I'm getting into. She didn't explain it very well because we were 16. So how do you pitch something to someone who's 16? But I finished swim, 6 months later in February. And I was like, you know what? I have, literally nothing else going on. And I hate weightlifting by myself. Hated it. So I was like, I'll go talk to you.
Yeah.
And so I showed up and talked to Joe, and And then I came in on Monday. I think I came in on a Friday, and then I was like, okay, I'll be back Monday.
Yeah.
And I came in Monday. It was just like, it's something I hadn't done before, and I had something else that was going on.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't, I probably would have joined earlier.
It's just, it's interesting to me because I've heard, a guy he actually qualified for semis. He didn't accept the invite because unfortunately it happened over spring break for us. So he was actually busy, but he told me before he joined that he probably drove and sat in the parking lot 10 to 15 times and just sat there and never walked in. From that angle, part of it was he's an orthopedic surgeon, and even if this was 4 or 5 years ago, there was more conflict between doctors and CrossFit.
Yeah.
CrossFit started with their MD L1 and Reach Out and Involvement Project to let doctors see more about what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it.
I know when people say that, I'm always like, we have actually at least 2 physical therapists here.
Well, and I think, what did the doctors see prior to that, right? They see the person coming in, I got injured at CrossFit.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I can tell you who that member is in every gym. Most of the times. Listen, freak things happen. Overuse injuries happen. But I would say a bulk majority of the injuries that you see in your doctor's office are from people that didn't listen in the CrossFit gym to their coach. Or they went to a badly coached gym, which unfortunately still happened under the CrossFit umbrella.
Yeah.
But as a doctor, you see what you see. You see injuries, and you see people continuing to say it was CrossFit, it was CrossFit, it was CrossFit, it was CrossFit. You don't see all the people that didn't get injured from CrossFit. So you create this world that the only thing CrossFit does is injure you.
Yeah.
And so if that's your first introduction, it's hard to peel back, no matter what other people say. And again, I think CrossFit's done a great job about this, and you may have watched that and thought, if I do CrossFit, I'm going to get injured. I can't say no.
Yeah.
You are increasing...
As someone who's currently injured.
Yeah, you're increasing movement. You're increasing your risk of getting injured. But I will tell you that CrossFit, as a sport or as a training regimen, has the lowest injury rate, or as low as anything else. There's no sport that's lower. There just isn't.
Yeah, I was seriously injured twice in my swimming career at 14 and then at 16. I've never been seriously injured here.
And it's just, again, you move your body more, you're increasing your risk of injury. But CrossFit is not any more injury prone than any other discipline. So, putting that out there.
And it's totally cool for everybody. If you get, the big thing about CrossFit is you look it up online and it's Tia Claire Toomey and Justin Medeiros, and those aren't the everyday people that you see in here. So it's not
CrossFit tried to address this year through their marketing campaign, which was better than anything else they've ever done, but they kept calling it the magic of CrossFit.
Yeah.
Which I get what they're trying to do, but it discounts, again, the hard work, the knowledgeable coaches, the actual science behind the program. And if you read the articles, right, they talked about this. They're there is proof of all the things that we're talking about. It isn't magic. It's just so effective, it feels like magic. And I think that's one of the more frustrating parts about trying to get people to do CrossFit, is because when your friend finally, starts CrossFit and they post, and they're probably, most of them aren't going to post on their first day. They're going to post after they're confident in themselves.
Yeah.
And once that's happened, they've already had the change. Their body changed, their confidence changed. And so then as their friend, you see, well, that's great for you, but I can never do that. And it's but CrossFit is the why.
Yeah.
You have to walk in to get what you say you can't have. What we do is so effective and literally works for everyone that and honestly, sometimes rapidly.
Yeah.
That you just think that you couldn't possibly do it, and it's that's not true. Not in a good CrossFit gym.
Yeah, I will say I think I'm fit in a more overarching way.
Yeah.
If I went and swam, I could still do fine. My running without actually running all the time is better. Like,
And I'm
your strength is
41, and I
better.
don't have any hesitation if somebody asks me to go do something physical.
Yeah.
There's not a, can my body do it? I know, without a shadow of a doubt,
If you want to do it, like, let's roll.
the answer is yes.
Yeah. Let's go mountain biking.
And there was times in my 20s where that wasn't true.
Sorry.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Ricky Gerard's shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times in my 20s that just wasn't accurate. I couldn't get up and go and do anything I wanted whenever I wanted. When I was exercising, I thought I was fit, but there were so many holes in my game, whether it was nutrition. Just wasn't a whole program. And CrossFit is a whole program. So if you made it this long, again, considering CrossFit, what's holding you back? Or you're finally in CrossFit, but you held back for a very long time. What held you back? Because I never went through that. I was gung-ho from the moment I saw it. I would say the only thing that held me back was I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And I told the owner of the gym that I was going to on their free Saturdays that I was like, listen, I don't have any money. I love this. I love everything about it. I want to join. I just can't afford it. And I was very, very straightforward. And I'll say, if that's your situation here, income-based pricing. So really, no reason not to join with us, or at least try it. So, yeah. But maybe there's other reasons, but I need to know them so I can fix them.
I saw how fit Kenzie was. I was like, damn, I want to look like that.
Well, see, and that inspires some people, but then
it scares others.
it puts others down and thinks they can't do it because they have to have this fitness.
She's got like huge arms, and I remember through the course of swimming, I never had any biceps, and I was like, you know what?
You want some guns?
I want some guns.
There you go.
But yeah, it does. It can be intimidating, especially if you aren't really already in a different kind of fit shape, or you already feel bad about the way that you look, and you see people like
You
that.
say already. Weird.
Already? Alrighty? Okay.
It's like already. I don't know. It just sounded weird to me.
It starts with an O, actually. Already. If you already feel bad about the way that you look walking into the gym and seeing like super fit people, maybe you come in and the once in a millennia that Corey takes his shirt off when he's finishing a workout, and you're like,
Again, that was one of the Saturday. I set up a
hard.
meeting after class for a new prospect, and it was a warmer day. Everybody had their shirts off.
Shirts off.
Shirts are off, and they walk in, and they might as well have walked into a bloodbath of just dead bodies because they went white, and they started to walk out, and I was like, "No, you're in the right place."
Yeah.
And I told them that, and she was like, "No, I'm not." And I was like, "Yeah, you are." She's like, "No, I can't do this." Like, didn't even see us do anything. The workout was over, and it was just people with their shirts off being
Cleaning their stuff.
in shape. And this person had just completely given up on the idea that they could do it.
Damn.
And I just watched them give up on themselves in real time. And that stuck with me. It's still with me.
Yeah.
And it changed when I have people come in. Because I see that and I'm like, let's get going. I want that as well.
Like, especially when people walk into open gym, if they still see you like putting away your barbell and stuff, they're like, oh, what'd you just do?
Yeah.
Did you do class or did you do something else? And that's like, our community. Like, okay, I want to do that workout if it has you all red faced and exhausted. I will say, I posted on Snapchat after my first day, and I just remember, like, my hair is like half matted, and then like my face is bright red.
But to each their own. Again, just trying to help you get over it. I would say kind of the same thing I say in my whiteboard brief. Like, ask your questions because you're not the only one with them.
100%.
If you wait until we break from the whiteboard and you come up to ask me the question individually, I like you, but I want to hit you right now.
I just asked for questions.
Like, I literally just asked for questions where I have all 10 of you paying attention. And you're going to ask me a question that I know I'm going to get asked at least 2 or 3 more times now.
Individually
because,
by other people.
And I get being insecure that you don't want to ask a question and look dumb, and I don't know how to tell you to get past that. That's some psychology and stuff that I'm not prepared to go into. But please ask the question at the whiteboard. Don't wait till we break out into smaller sections, because now I'm going to have to regroup everybody to answer, because it may be a good question, and maybe I missed it in the whiteboard.
We have to go, all right, everybody, I actually had a really good question. So,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
And I'm, just please don't ask me individually, unless it's a very private, like,
Or about like
hey, I'm pregnant, I haven't told anybody yet, I need scaling.
scaling. Yeah, I was gonna say individual scaling is a question I'm okay with answering, but
I am, but also again, like, we got 20 toes to bar. I'm gonna get the question. Well, I can't do 20 in the 2 sets that you asked.
to do 10.
So what should I do? Well, you should have asked this question in front of everybody, so I could tell you the same answer that I'm going to tell you now, but I won't have to say it 2 more times to the other 2 people that are going to ask me in
Who
this class.
I know also don't really have toes to bar.
Yeah, and also, I've given you the same answer several times now.
It's like every time we do toes to bar in a workout, you've asked me this question. It's always reduce the reps.
It's reduce the reps or switch to a movement that you can achieve the total volume in 2 sets. Are you tired of the 2? Now, what I would think is a good question from that, like, we've already set the precedent of what we want you to do. You could ask, what's a new movement that I could do that I haven't done to develop these skills?
Yeah.
Or, hey, I'm just a little bored with that approach, right?
It obviously, like,
And that's my
isn't
job,
work.
and I'll help you out.
Yeah.
But, like, and I get that, and that's completely reasonable. But yeah, let's try to ask the questions at the whiteboard. Speaking of the whiteboard, that is our time to get the most attention from all the athletes that we're going to get. Please respect that. I get it. You may be bored, and you've been here for 5 years. You think you know exactly what I'm going to say, when I'm going to say it, the order I'm going to say it. Surprise, I'm going to add new stuff because I improved as a coach, or I saw something in the last class that I thought needed to be brought up. We're all constantly learning, but we can't learn what we think we already know. And when you're talking while I'm talking at the whiteboard, you're saying that you know more than me and you don't need to take anything I have to say. And I think you can imagine how insulting and frustrating that is, and how much that doesn't make me want to coach you for the rest of the day. And I will also say, the people that talk during the whiteboard brief are by and large the people that come up to me and ask me individual questions after the whiteboard brief. And that's frustrating.
Yeah.
Very, very frustrating.
And it's like since getting my L1, getting more hours here, I started to chime in with, Joe and Mike have talked about like how frustrating stuff can be sometimes, but
you don't see it till you see it, and then
and then you're like, damn. Yeah, and then you're also a little bit like, well, I kind of fucking did that.
Well, yes. And you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Until you experience the other side of it.
It's like, I'm down to talk to you, but if I'm trying to take people through a barbell cycle or whatever to warm people up, it's like, okay, let's maybe give it like 3 or 4 minutes until I make you do some stuff on your own, or you're building in weight, and then we can have a little chit chat. You can tell me about your weekend, or...
And I'll try to find time to like have fun and like, I want you to be present during the warm up, but I also want you to like get comfortable and have a good day and talk to your friends, and I'll try to start.
To me. I like talking.
Yeah, I'll try to start the social. I mean, most times you have to get me to shut up, honestly. Like my Friday class, it was 4:30, ran way over because I just was talking with Lauren Gaddy like 2 girls in a bar. I mean, it was a lot of talking, and we ran over. And
she also will talk your ear off. I'll talk your ear off. Joe will talk your ear off. When you're with somebody who will continually talk. Like, I was trying to leave after coaching 5 a.m. on Friday, and I didn't leave for another 45 minutes because Joe and I started talking.
Yeah.
Had my bag and everything, and then Maverick came out, and I was like, oh, hey, Maverick. And then Joe and I started to have a conversation.
Yeah. So, and this goes, same thing as talking on over the whiteboard brief and showing up late. You're taking away from the other people when you do that. If you're going to show up late, read the notes. read the notes, and then when you walk in, do what everybody else is doing. Is it going to feel a little lost? Have you maybe missed some steps that helped you get warmed up? Sure. But that's your burden to bear. One person is late in a 10-person class. We stay with the 9.
Yeah.
We stay with the pace on the 9, and it's your job to catch up. I'm not going to kick you out. I'm not going to ask you to leave. I'm not going to tell you to do burpee punishment. You're an adult.
Yeah.
Show up, but be an adult. Grab your stuff. Get going.
If we have some downtime.
And you may have a great question, but you lost that right, in my opinion, to ask the question, unless it is of great safety. But like, how should I approach the workout when you show up at 12:07? You should have approached it by being here at 11:55.
That's fair.
That's the first thing you should have done, because then you would have heard me give the brief, and then I wouldn't have been so annoyed when you're taking time away from the people that were on time. Again, you're not a bad person because you're late. Some people are chronically late. Some people, traffic is bad and you're late. I get it. I do. Just don't make that anybody else's problem.
Yeah.
That was your problem. I'm not gonna exaggerate your problem. Don't create one for me.
Yeah. If I give people like, okay, a couple minutes for like water and bathroom, then, because I've probably already gone over strategy or whatever in the workout prep, then if you have like another minor question or whatever, I'm fine with that.
And I think
I'm not doing anything else.
At this point, like, I think most coaches have their style, right? With me, I'm gonna come in. Brief is gonna not be very brief because I'm gonna talk too much.
Yeah, it's like an 8-minute brief.
Yeah, and I am trying really hard to get that back down to under 4 minutes. I'd really like to be sub 3.
Ooh.
I know.
We're talking about it like it's Fran.
Yeah,
Joe
and then I'm going to give you
so
10 to 12 minute warm up. Then we're going to do our lift. But I'm going to, during the brief, one of the things that takes longer is I give you an overview layout of the day. Like, we're going to have, this is how I'm going to break up that time. This is going to be our transition time. This is going to be when we start the workout. And I may be like at 4:09, right? We're starting the workout.
Yeah.
Because I want to end the class at the 55.
Ideally at the 55.
So I break everything back down from that. So I've got a 16-minute time cap workout. That means I have to start at 4:09. It means I want to end the lifting session by 4. So I've got a 9-minute clean up retransition time.
Which
I'm going to have a workout prep, and I'm going to tell you get 2 to 3 minutes of full recovery.
Oh my God. Which I want to talk about lifting time as well, like with the shutting up kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's when I set a timer for people to like be able to lift, maybe a lift at the end of it is fine, especially for maxing. Then if you hit a lift and you're trying to hit the next like 5-pound jump, go for it, do your thing. Usually because there's extra time budgeted in on 1 rep days. But if we're like snatch balancing or overhead squatting,
To wait till the end of the minute.
To wait till the end to hit a lift, or to be like, okay, well, like I hit that last weight, I want to go a little heavier. Like, dude, we're kind of on a timeline. And other people in the class are going to still be listening to me and like doing workout prep while you're either still hitting a lift or just starting to break down your barbell.
Yeah.
And so then they're ready to go. And now they have to wait like 8 minutes to be able to start the workout because you still have to do the workout prep or you just don't get to.
I think, and you went to your L1. I'm sure they did it at the L1. They really do it at the L2. But like, you'll go to the whiteboard brief for the workout. And they're like 30 seconds to get your equipment, and we're going.
Yeah.
And you've got to hustle. It's a workout to get your workout stuff. And they're not messing around because it's a very rigid timeline, right?
Yes.
And we have a rigid timeline. But if you want more time, grab your stuff quicker.
Yeah.
I watch y'all leave the brief, and it's this and that. It's I'm going to go over to the lounge and check my phone. I'm going to get a drink. I might want my wrist straps. So let me dig out of my bag. And then I'm going to come back out here.
You're 3 minutes on the bike.
Yeah, and now you're 2.5, 3 minutes behind. Oh, what did I need to grab? Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to get a barbell and
what do we need?
We're 4 to 5 minutes past the break, and you're asking me what we need for the warm-up. Again,
everybody is at the hip waiting for you.
I'm not going to be as strict as the L2 is, mostly because y'all wouldn't keep coming. It's hilarious. You pay $1,000 to go to the L2. to really get yelled at.
You really just get, and L1 as well, you just really kind of get shit on
Yeah.
for about 3 days.
You get told everything's awful. You're not
sitting
moving fast
Oh
enough.
my God. And when they have you in the little groups and they're taking
Yeah.
you through movement standards, I easily sat in the bottom of a squat for maybe 15 minutes.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
legs are on fire. I was exhausted. People are like, oh, did you have so much fun learning and taking a test about CrossFit? I'm like, dude, they ripped into my overhead positioning. Like,
They rip into everything. It's like the more you pay, the more you get ripped into. And honestly,
which is good, you know?
Corey and I talk about it all the time. We just want to start a fitness prison where you pay us a lot more money, we have a lot less people, and we're a lot meaner. But there's a correlation, unfortunately, between how much somebody pays generally and how much they listen.
Yeah.
And it
The
doesn't.
more people pay, typically the more
They listen.
And
the more they're willing to kind of suffer through whatever you kind of
typically the more
tell them.
questions they ask you outside of class, which is nice.
Yep. Because, I can't teach you what you're not interested in learning. I can't do it. So you have to find a way to be interested in the seemingly mundane of what I'm saying, because there's nothing mundane. Again, all of the stuff that we talk about carries over. When we have an athlete that's been doing chin-ups, and I keep trying to tell them, like, chin-ups are an exercise. They're great.
But they will not.
There's
leave
not a
the
carry
forward
for it in CrossFit. They're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, do you clean like this? Right?
No, everything's
do you
overhead.
snatch like this?
Yeah.
Do you? And I get that we sometimes switch grip deadlift, but like you're not going to do toes to bar like this.
Actually,
You're not.
I'm gonna switch grip the bar when I do bar muscle ups.
Yeah, you're not gonna do chest to bar or bar muscle ups like that. Like
Can you
again,
imagine mixed gripping a bar on the rig?
yeah. Well, there's some people that mix grip toe to bar, and even that is just like whatever. But everything that we do has a carryover. In a 3-minute brief or whatever. We don't have time to explain that. We need some level of trust that you believe we know what we're doing, and there's a reason for everything. Because I broke it down and I explained that, but that took time, which time is finite. Like, you've got 60 minutes.
Yeah. And typically, like, the antisocial athlete will follow exactly what we say to a T. They're ready on the timeline.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm ready to take them through the warm-up, they're right there. They're staring at me. They have been staring at me for about 30 seconds. But the social athlete is still,
And listen, we need the
And
social
I'm also a
athlete.
social
We
athlete.
need you to help people get out of their shells and make the class fun. And there's a way to be you that's productive
100%.
for everybody, and there's a way to be you that's unproductive for everybody. There's tight classes and there's relaxed classes. You have to know.
We will probably tell you.
Yeah, and you're going to see on the board.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing that day? Is it just a 20-minute Metcon? Okay, then we've got
more time.
Yeah.
I honestly look at it. Is it bar or ring muscle ups? We're gonna have some teaching today.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some skills. We're gonna have to build up to that progression. Is it pull ups? Right? Pull ups. I'm not telling you it's not a skill. It's clearly a skill. But to teach a bar muscle up, you have to do a pull up. You have to be able to do a chest to bar. You have to be able to do a dip. There's all those more things I've got to teach in the progression and be prepared with scaling. Whereas pull ups,
typically
again,
people have them or they don't.
there's less scaling and there's less build up to the movement. So it's easier. It's a quicker warm up timeline, everything. Is it handstand push-ups or is it barbell strict press? Just
one requires more than the other.
they're both presses, essentially, both shoulders, but it's a completely different pattern and timeline to load. And that gets probably too in the weeds, but you can look at a workout and know, or a program today and know.
Piper, Joe, and Corey are going to really have to talk about the fitness side of things.
And how much time you have to talk. But a good rule is if I've turned the music down, turn your volume down.
Feel like a teacher. Everybody.
1, 2, 3, eyes on me. My kids, when they were younger, they'd come home and they'd say like the thing that the teacher said, and it's like LISTEN or whatever, and they'll like have their little rhythm. And I so badly wanted to do it in class one day, and I was like, because there was a couple of teachers, and I knew they just kind of automatically do it because they were talking, and I was just like, no, I can't. This is gonna come off condescending instead of playful.
Yes. I used to have one teacher who would clap, and then the whole class would clap back.
Yeah. All right, we'll leave you there.
Anyways,
Like, subscribe. Corey will be back.
listen to us. We love you.